Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Joe Theodore. And today I would like to explore with you what it means to be born under a Venus retrograde. Now, if you're interested, before I begin this small talk today, if you're interested in learning in depth about Venus retrograde, what it means to be born with one, what it means when it actually just happens, right? Which Venus goes retrograde every 2 years. Maybe even a little bit longer than 2 years. I have pre-recorded classes available that are affiliated with my Patreon. You do not need to be a member of my Patreon to purchase those classes, but I'm slowly, in a very retrograde way, going through planet after planet and teaching a 90-minute class on that and what it means to be retrograde. I have Mars, Mercury, and Venus now available, so if you want to dive deeper or explore more Venus retrograde, because this video today for YouTube will not be that long, I'm sure, and will be just a taste of what you could learn. But in the upcoming future, we have a massive Venus retrograde coming in the spring. This will be a legendary Venus retrograde because we're going to have a fresh ingress of Neptune into Aries, which is going to shift the entire world. We're also going to have a Mercury retrograde happening simultaneously during that time. We're also having a Mars retrograde this winter as I'm recording this. So if you want to learn more about Mars, class again for sale regarding Mars. But I realized early this morning, wow, I haven't done a video on Venus retrograde for YouTube. And I was talking with someone earlier today about Venus retrograde, which is inspiring this talk. So let's just dive right in, guys. What does it mean to have a Venus retrograde in your birth chart? Well, let's start with what does it mean to have a retrograde planet in your birth chart? A retrograde planet in your birth chart means that you are not able to express the true nature of that planet in your life. I equate having a retrograde planet in your birth chart, and don't take this the wrong way, please, almost like you have a little disability. There's a disability going on with that planet's expression. And every single planet in the sky represents a psychological and archetypal symbol for your behavior and your actions in life. Like Saturn is your work ethic, or what you need to learn to have good work ethic. Venus shows you where you have an affinity for beauty, where you have an affinity for creativity, where you have an affinity, sorry, I'm adjusting myself, guys, and where you have talents for things that are creative, where you have an ability to be poetic and romantic, and maybe where you are good at manifesting money and success, because remember, Venus rules Taurus. So, or when you have Mercury, let's just jump around to Mercury for a second. If you have Mercury retrograde in your birth chart, this can mean that you have a slow analytical process. You may not be that quick mentally. You may have learning disabilities growing up. And part of the journey of having a retrograde planet is to not say, oh my God, I have this disabled planet in my birth chart. Like, I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to find love. This is also a very Venus retrograde thing. Or people who, and I was having this conversation earlier, that some people who have same-sex attraction, because we live in a toxic shame culture where homosexuality is not accepted, still, any sort of same-sex or any sort of alternative gender stuff, this is a suppression of the feminine. Okay? And the feminine is how we love. So even the most masculine man on the planet still has a Venus in their birth chart, still has a part of their life that they're most strong enough to express this sensualness, or it could be debilitated because it's in retrograde. So retrograde planets cannot express themselves as they are meant to. When you have Mercury retrograde in a birth chart, you are not able to express the way you think. Maybe maybe you have a speech impediment. I think you can understand what I'm talking about. And in those classes, guys, I go into much more detail and examples. But another Mercury retrograde could be you have a really hard time paying attention. You could have ADD. You can have just mental issues, not mental illness, but mental, just cognitive problems. I mean, there could be mental illness depending if you had Mercury retrograde in the 12th house. There could be, you could be prone to depression because the 12th house is a dark place. You could be prone to just maybe having confusion in your life all the time. Venus retrograde, though, is about receiving. It's about how we love, how we perceive ourselves on a very emotional level. Venus is very emotional. Venus attracts or wants to attract. And then what it attracts, it wants to be able to express itself in a very unique, emotional, creative way. Venus is associated with money because Venus loves to receive. And what do we need to survive in this world? We need to receive money in order to survive, in order to provide shelter and material goods that can make our lives better. So when Venus is in retrograde, we might have a hard time manifesting money. We might have a hard time expressing how we really feel. Back to the same sex thing. I've met many homosexual men with Venus retrograde in their birth chart. That is because, for some reason, karmically speaking, they were meant to come into this world to feel what it was like to not be able to express themselves in this toxic shame culture. And it's their mission in life to somehow overcome that and to express it and express themselves with confidence and no shame. And thank God we're starting to live in a culture where that is becoming more accepted in the Western world, at least, even though it is constantly under threat. So, but still, even a gay man who is completely confident, completely living in more of a society or in a city, for example, where he knows he can walk around and not be afraid to let people know that he's a gay man. There is still the programming of what culture has done to gay men. And that, for a gay man, never leaves him. So Venus retrograde is constantly being reminded that it may not be lovable, that it may go through life struggling with this emotional block, that it can't truly express itself. And that's literally what a retrograde planet in a birth chart is. This knowing that that particular part of your life, that particular planetary expression has a hard time expressing itself. And to pierce through that, you must be aware that that's the case, right? That's the beautiful thing about astrology. Every time I've told a gay client of mine, hey, this is probably the reason why this, that, and the other thing. So now that you're aware that this is part of the fate and destiny, whatever reason astrology is the way it is, you have an opportunity to pierce through this, to overcome it. And then throughout the course of your lifetime, your retrograde planet should not be as retrograde-y anymore. And that's just part of when we do progressions in astrology, like more of a traditional astrologer technique, when we look back in the ancient ways of doing things. When we look at progressed planets and progressed charts, things move ahead, right? So as you go through your life, technically those planets are maturing in your birth chart. So we have the ability to mature if we want to. The astrology is set up for that. But do we choose to? More than half of the time, we don't. So when you have Venus retrograde, guys, we're dealing with an inability to express itself fully, to accept love, to give love. People can be very shy, very, very shy, very quiet, especially in that particular area of their life. Or relationships may not seem to always work out for them. They may seem to always have a hard time connecting with other people. And sometimes in life, that fate is meant to happen for a reason, because maybe there's other things in their life they're meant to focus on. Maybe love and romance and, being able to express itself creatively 24/7, that might not be a part of their journey. Something else more important is. And I hate saying that, because love and connection is really one of the most important things all humans need and need to pursue. But not everybody needs to pursue them or have that in their life as much as other people. Some people need 25% connection with others and 75% of more quiet, peace, solitude. Maybe they like animals more than people, which I can't blame them sometimes. But where someone maybe with a heavy Venus placement, let's say in Libra, they may need to always have people around them all the time, and they constantly need to give and love and receive. But when you're dealing with a retrograde planet, some of those people are quite all right. Quite all right not having, the romance partnerships their entire life, going long chunks of their life without being involved romantically with people. The issue is everybody's different, and you have to analyze everybody, or everyone has to analyze their own experience differently. So a lot of people I've met with Venus retrograde in their birth chart, either one, had a hard time in their life and they don't want to feel that way. Like they don't want to feel like they want to be able to express themselves. They want to not feel shame, for example, if they were a homosexual. They want to be able to express themselves in the fullest capacity. And then other people just, I don't want to say have had bad luck, but just some people just go through life just never finding the one, right? They don't go through life finding some things in their life that they truly want to connect with, and it just doesn't work, right? And the house topic means all the difference when we're dealing with where this is happening too. So when dealing with Venus, again, we're dealing with the emotions. We're dealing with the feeling we have when we're connecting with people. Because a Venus retrograde person can connect, right? But is there just like a weird void sometimes? There could be like a weird void where you're even saying to yourself, why am I not connecting like I know I should be? Why is it feels like there's something wrong with me on the inside? Which is why I know a lot of gay men who have been born under Venus retrogrades, because it's like they grow up knowing, oh my God, there's more straight people than people that are attracted to same-sex people. And the first part of their life, they don't even know how to speak up on it unless there's someone really open and understanding from a very young age in their life where they maybe can talk about this stuff. And I'm talking like in their teenage years, right? Or whatever the case may be. I'm just saying, like, I notice Venus retrogrades have a lot to do with suppressed sexuality, whatever that means. Okay. But it also can mean shyness. It could also mean just like not having good luck in relationships, not being able to connect like you want to. And I think when a Venus retrograde person fully matures, either one, they break through the barrier and they realize, I am happy the way I am. I need to accept the way I am and pursue, how I want to feel. And then there's those people that just have to accept, like, there might only be a few people throughout their entire life they actually love. And who those people are, they need to cherish more than anything. And Venus retrograde people might also not find love till a very later stage in their life. Or they'll become okay with not having a traditional romantic connection. And then again, the house topic means everything, because like if you have a Venus retrograde in the ninth house. The ninth house is all about education. It's about higher ideals, philosophy, spirituality, religion. And someone might go through their whole life just not feeling connected to those topics. Or if they meet anybody, any person within those realms of life, they may want to love someone. They may want to have a connection with someone. And maybe that theme of their life constantly pops up. Maybe they constantly are meeting people from foreign cultures. And for some reason, they just can't seem to connect with those people. Like there's just something that's always off. So it's this lack of being able to express the Venusian, the creative, the loving, the poetic. Not being able to feel the essence of what Venus actually is until it's recognized. And then once you recognize this is what's going on, you can work on it. But sometimes the universe has other plans. And sometimes you're meant to have that Venus retrograde in your life to pursue and focus on things other than the fullest expression of what Venus can give. Because usually when we have a great weakness, we usually have an extreme strength somewhere else. And that is definitely highlighted in your birth chart. And I know a lot of gay men, coming back to the same sex thing, that do find ways, of course, in this day and age, we're getting better as society of accepting stuff. So, but still, every gay man I've ever met still has it in the back of their mind, should I hold my partner's hand in public? Should I kiss them on the lips in public? There's still that roadblock. There's still that, should I express how I really feel right now? And that's what Venus retrograde is, guys. So if you can really, because that's what made me want to talk about this today. Like I was talking about someone who I know who is a gay man and he has Venus retrograde in his birth chart. And I know a lot of women. I actually know someone very close to me who is a heterosexual who has Venus in his Venus retrograde in his birth chart. And I know women. I've met women with Venus retrograde in their birth charts. And again, it's just like this shyness, like this ashamed feeling where you're just like, should I really express myself now? Can I? Do I feel safe enough to express myself now? And that's really what it is. That's I mean, in more times than not, that's how I see it. People, because Venus, yes, we could be dealing with money. I've never seen Venus retrograde play out as like, oh my God, it's so hard for me to make money. Usually if I see Chiron in the second house, I see suffering around a relationship to people and their resources and their money. I've yet to see a Venus retrograde person in the second house. Maybe they have issues with money. Maybe they don't have a good connection to it. But again, Venus is not just money. Venus is the emotion to it, right? Where Chiron could be like a physical, like, wow, this is a weak point in my life. This sacred wound around money in the second house is something that's there. Venus is more about the connection to it. Maybe not having the confidence to make money, right? Just like just not feeling like you deserve it. It's a whole different psychological perspective. But I've never met anyone with a Venus retrograde in the second house. But again, for me, it's more of this like, I don't feel safe expressing myself. I don't feel like I can ask that girl out on a date. I don't feel I deserve marrying this man. I don't feel that this relationship's going to work out. Why am I even trying? No one loves me because this, that, and the other thing. I have too much trauma from growing up, and now my emotional system's all fucked up. Venus retrograde could play a huge role in someone's karmic path regarding childhood trauma involving the way we view love. Venus retrograde people, on a more positive note, if we want to, because I feel like I've been a little negative, guys, but here's the deal. Retrogrades, like I said, they're like having a disabled part of your life activated all the time. Like there's just a disability because it can't express itself fully until you learn that that's the case. And then you can work on it. And that's part of the life lesson, to work on what the weakness is and how that is specifically manifested in your life. And then acceptance is very important, because sometimes we never shake whatever that vibe is of the retrograde in your life. It's just a weakness. And yes, it can be overcome and conquered, but only when recognized. So it's very important to know exactly how any retrograde planet is working in your birth chart. And again, a lot of people I've met with Venus, it is just this feeling of not being connected and not knowing how to express that. Even though many of us want to. Now let me think. Do I want to say anything else, guys? You know I could ramble. I'm already at 21 minutes. Oh my God. So, guys, yeah, I'm just going to stop it there. I feel like I've been repeating myself a little bit too. So I hope you found this video enjoyable. Let me know if you're born with one. Let me know what your experience is, if you know anyone with one. I just wish everyone with a Venus retrograde in their birth chart could know that it's okay. You can overcome whatever it is. I think being aware of your retrograde planets are important. Maybe not so much the big ones. Like you can kind of live. Again, I feel like it's the personal planets that really affect us the most. But I do feel any retrograde planet in your birth chart, honestly, is plays a role in how long it would take for that planet to truly express itself. So it's not that you'll never be able to express that planet. It could take a long time. And most people don't work on their trauma, don't work on their weaknesses most of the time through life. People just accept their failures or accept their weaknesses. But astrology can point us to what's going on. And then, like exercising, you need to do it every day in order to stay in shape. All right, my friends, that's all I have for you today. I will see you next time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sending you so much love.